Hey everyone, welcome back. I know it's been so long since I uploaded. To be honest with you, I don't even remember the last time I uploaded. But hey, here we are, October 14th, 2024, and today we're looking at this upcoming winter, which, believe it or not, we have some interesting factors already forming in the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean. Quickly, if we take a look right off the coast of, I want this work. All right, so this won't work on that. That's good to know. But if we take a quick look off the coast of, oh, now it wants to work? That's so weird. But anyways, if we take a look pretty much right here and eastward all the way to South America, you can see we have cooler than normal average temperatures. It's at least sea surface temperatures, as shown here. That is what we call a La Nina. And let's see if it actually lets me draw on this too. All right, so it's just that one. So if we take a look, anything below this line, pretty much right here on zero point 0.5, negative 0.5, is called a La Nina. If it's 3 months or longer, it stays below that. Right now, since it looks like at least early September, it's been below that line. So it's not yet a La Nina, but technically it is going to be a La Nina by winter time. If we take it back to this photo here, if we take a look just south of Alaska, you see we have a pretty much a cool pool sitting right here, and then warmer than average temperatures sitting right here. I really don't know why that marker's not working, but you get my point. Usually when that happens, we get cooler than normal waters off the coast of Alaska. You get troughing out west more predominantly than the east coast. This is something to monitor throughout winter. Definitely monitor this area during winter and this. These two are the major forces that determine our winter, at least in the east coast. And thirdly, a big one that also factors into this winter forecast is the oceans off the coast of Greenland and waters off the coast of the United States in the Atlantic side. Sometimes in the Pacific, if we get Gulf nor'easters that forms in here, that's also important. But right now, it's not that important. Notice from North Carolina to about Long Island, there is cooler than normal than average temperatures, at least sea surface. For the winter, if you're along the coast and that sticks, you probably will have more snowstorms than snow to rainstorms because when the nor'easters, especially nor'easters, blow wind off the coast, because nor'easters turn counterclockwise because it's a low pressure system. It drags warm air usually from the ocean. If it's cooler than average, usually that means the warm air won't be as warm, and you can, let's say, hold on to snow longer or throughout the whole time. On your screen now is a 10 millibar view of the polar vortex. I just want to show you a couple scenarios, what to look out for when predicting some weather like this. Right now, it's pretty much centered over the Arctic Ocean, right? And I'd say I'll call it a watermelon type shape, ovalish type shape, anything that looks like that. If we continue on, you could see, at least according to the GFS, how it starts to get elongated. Notice how the center is now from all the way from Siberia, all the way from northern Canada and Greenland. During the winter, this would be pretty good for the US as just like low pressure systems, this moves in counterclockwise. So it would be dragging down colder air, at least into the central and eastern part of the US. Meanwhile, in Siberia, it would also be getting cooler air. But if we continue on, at least with the GFS, notice how it parts itself over Siberia, and notice how the isobars start to get tighter and tighter and tighter. That means this pretty much this polar vortex is getting stronger. Once again, at least according to the GFS. And notice how there's not really any isobars across America, at least in a 10 millibar up in the atmosphere, right? This would be dragging more warm air across America and leaving the colder air back towards Siberia. For a snow lover, you wouldn't want this at all. Either you want this thing parked over here and weak, or just a complete split of the vortex where you have a vortex that's over here and a vortex over here. That's when we get our really, really cold air shots from the Arctic. massive Arctic outbreaks. You get higher pressure in the Arctic Ocean for, I'd say, 3 to 4 weeks, and that's when usually you hear about a big storms across the country. Now, if you look at the CFS model, take in mind this model has a name for itself. Can't forecast you know what. So if we take a look at this model, notice how there's higher pressures out in the west and there's troughing out in the east, right? See how the pressure, isobars are going down this way, right? And they're going up this way. That indicates you have ridging out west and a trough out east. Now, if we take a look into December, you can see, how do I put it? The increased chance of that happening, when I said for November, is getting louder and louder within the models. At least this model. It shows that probably it's going to be colder, more high chance of December being colder than not, right? Again, for January, notice how, once again, you have this ridge down in the south, right? But look at this, you have more ridging out west in Alaska. That means more cold air is being unlocked into wherever the trough is going. And in this case, it shows the east. February, it has that, but just on steroids. Ridging out east, troughing out west. Ridging out west and troughing out east. And if you want to believe it, that has a stronger signal for March and even into April. But then again, this model really, really has a name for itself, so I wouldn't believe it too much. So my final thoughts are as follows, pretty much. Looking at this cool pool up here by Alaska and seeing a La Nina off the coast of South America leads me to believe that the western part of the US, roughly in this area, will have cooler than average conditions, right? Probably anywhere in this area, pretty much from the south, southeast, and eastern part of the US, parts of the central US too, will probably have warmer conditions pretty much throughout the whole winter. When you have a La Nina like this setting up, it usually leads to high pressures being built off the coast of the eastern part of the US. That leads to ridging and pretty much warm air being dragged back into the US. If you have a trough, it needs to be balanced out by a ridge, so probably look at something like that throughout this winter. I'm saying this as I'm watching the Yankee game with Stan up to bat. Thank you guys for dealing with this horrible mic quality. I know it's not the best. All my stuff is at home. I appreciate you watching this, to whoever made it to this end. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.